Just from the background, we are making an hatchery process which is producing catfish fryers. So hatchery process are artificial spawning. These are the artificial breeding of a newly hatched catfish. That is the process you are watching from the background. And I told you on this medium that you will absolutely learn a lot of tricks in catfish hatchery. So the process you are watching on the background is the process we call the stripping. That means we are stripping out eggs from the female broodstocks. So after the stripping, we will be fertilizing the egg with the milk, with the sperm of a female broodstocks. Generally, what we call broodstock, we also call them as a spawner. We call them as breeder, most especially for those of us into poultry farming. So we do call them breeders. These are fishes of parent. We also call them parent stocks. They are parent because they are elders in fishes. So elders at least should be above 12 months old of fishes. So, and if they are above 12 months old of fishes, you need to look at the potentials of the broodstock you are using. If you don't look at the potentials of the broodstock you are using, you may be having problems. And some of the problems you may be having is that you'll be having weak fishes. That means your fishes will not be active enough to give you a perfect result. So sometimes having weak fishes fryers from the beginning, automatically, if we are not careful, this may destroy totally all your productions. Simply means if they are weak, they will die. So the purpose of them dying may be based on the broodstock you are using. If you are using a broodstock that is not potential enough for a parent stock, this will disturb them. Sometimes we call them prematured productions. Prematured productions are meant through unpotentials broodstocks. That means the parent stocks. If the parent stock is not highly matured enough, it will give you stillbirth. This will give you prematured productions. If the broodstocks are stressed, or if during your massaging period you stress them a lot, this will give you prematured productions. There are a lot of areas you can get a prematured production on your production circuit if you are not careful. So by the time you finish spawning, by the time you finish fertilizing, by the time you finish maybe after your fertilization, your fryers have come out, you'll still be having the management process will be giving you a lot of problems because the broodstock you are using is not potential enough to be used. So it is important for you as a farmer to really understand the selection of broodstocks. You may do it and you get it right, and you may do it the second time, you may not get it right. So that is why sometimes I advise any farmers to make sure that they work towards the best practice in production so that they can give them high result of their productions. Best practice means understanding the core or the major thing in catfish breeding before you jump into it. So the process you are seeing in the background is the process we call the fertilization. That means we are fertilizing the egg with the sperm of the male broodstocks. So this process takes just a few seconds, maybe just 30 seconds. You are done with your fertilization. And if you want to know if the fertilization process has been taking place, you will definitely know through the colorations of your egg, because this is going to turn some of the eggs into whitish. Whitish means unfertilized egg. some of them will start showing up. So the advice I normally give any farmer or any breeder is to make sure that during this fertilization process, you do the mixing very well so that all the eggs will be highly fertilized. If it can take you some time, maybe some few 10 seconds to wait to make sure that the penetration of the mint really entered into the egg, it is an added advantage. That is what I do, because I am afraid of getting a prematured fryers. Because anytime you get a prematured fryers, this is very difficult. It will be very difficult for you to control anytime you have a prematured production, and it will give you stress. And moreover, if you are not careful, you will definitely lose all the fryers, their time, and it will give you a lot of stress. So it is important for you to get all these best practice right before the productions. So another thing you need to look at is your mint. What is the color of the mint? Is the color whitish? Is it waterish? Is it black? So those three colors I mentioned, those are some of the coloration you can get for your milk. By luck, you get a creamish color mint. This is 100% accurate. With this, I bet you may not have any problem. But if you are having a dark or a waterish color mint, I bet you have a chances of 80 to 30, 80 to 20, 70 to 20 chances. That means 70 that you may get it right, 30% that you may not get it right. So for you not to have much doubt on this, I will encourage you to slaughter another or dissect another male broodstocks to make sure that you get the accurate mint you are really looking at. To me, it's better for you to sacrifice another male broodstock than you to try and error. So after that, the next thing to do is your fertilization process. The incubating process. Yeah, after the fertilization process, you go into the incubating process. So into the incubating process, the first thing you need to look at your incubating process is your water. Getting right the parameters of your water is very, very important. But there's a point in water management that we farmers, breeders, don't really take cognizance of, don't really takes time to look at. What is that? That is the water temperature. Your water temperature must be accurate. It is highly important your water temperature is accurate. If you are having a water temperature, maybe your water is too cold, is above the ranges of maybe 26 to 30 centigrade. So it's better if it is higher or lower. If the water is cold, as we are in this present time, I will advise you as a farmer to warm the water. How can you warm this water? You may use a thermostat to do that. You may use warm water to do that if you can avoid a thermostat. But if you can avoid a thermostat, I will advise you to get one. Make sure that you keep your water into accuracy, because most of us, the only thing we normally go out and check is the pH. Because I understand most farmers, the only kit they have is the pH. Only pH all the time. People don't know if the temperature of your water is not accurate, is not okay. There's no amount of pH water you can get, you will not have the accurate result. And if you even have that result, the fishes may not survive more than 1 week. So it is important for you to take high cognizance into this, to understand the water temperature. So another thing you need to look at is the hardening of your water. How hard is your water? That means what level is the water hardness? Is it tough? Is it hard? Is it at the medium? So you make sure that you get a kit for hardness to know how hardened is your water. Nitrate, very, very important. Toxicity in your water has to be emitted, has to be taken away. So it's important for you to get this right. Most especially some of us that are using borehole, and sometimes we are in rainy season and the water is harsh sometimes. So there are a lot of toxicity in the water that will be affect your water. So with this, you need to check for the iron level of your water and make sure that you have all these things into 0 mg per liters, milligrams per liters. So make sure your water iron is 0, your nitrate, your magnesium, your lead, your copper, they are into 0 before you start the productions. So another factors that most farmers do not take proper listening to in the water parameters that really affect our fishes and our fryers is what we call the iron. Sometimes you may have a little of iron inside your water. If you have this will destroy your production. And again, the most important part of the water management is your bacterial load in your water. If you have too much bacteria in your water, this will be a side-by-side competition with your fryers, and they are doing side-by-side competition with your fryer. It will affect your fryers from infancy, and once it affects your fryers from infancy, it will disturb them and will start killing them. So know that you get the bacterial load in your water. There's a kit for it. You can get it anywhere around, but if you can't get it, make sure that you contact me and I will send it to you anywhere you are in the world. We have it much available. So this kit, get the bacterial load, or if you note that you can't get the kit, use a salt solution from infancy to destroy or to emit or to remove or to kill some of this bacterial load in the water before your process. It's advisable. Like, you make sure that your water is being mixed with some salt, like you are producing your saline solution. Use it on them and they will be very, very well okay in the production circuit. So these informations I'll be giving you, I have loads of informations that I can give you, that I'll be giving you, so that you will have a perfect production in your hatchery. So that's why sometimes if you figure out that your fishes are weak, and if your fishes are weak, note, but you call me that your fishes are weak in infancy, there's nothing I can do to it. It's only when you protect or you walk into all these best practice, you work on it yourself before it happens. But if it happens, there's nothing anybody can do into it. The fryers will die, because your fryers must not be weak. In short, by the time you do your production, the second day, your fryers should be swimming up. If your fryers are not swimming up, very agile, are not swimming up, there's a problem. So because you have to take care of all these parameters, that is how you can get it right in fish hatchery and production. Thank you, and God bless you all.